Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of There's Insurance for That. We are your hosts. My name is Nate Brown.
And I'm Edwin Moreno, and today we will be talking about the difference between auto liability and full coverage. It's another education moment. So you have a chance to
Yes.
learn and a chance to understand what you currently have and why you currently have it, or why you maybe need to change it. So in today's episode, I'm going to take the charge in
Yeah.
breaking down the differences between these very common things that you hear on TV or you might hear from your agent, your auto insurance, which is, at least in the state of Illinois, it's mandatory to have, right? So if you have a car, you can't leave the lot without having auto liability insurance.
Mm,
Like
it's
that's
true.
that's just like so at minimum, right? They want you to have auto liability. But we're going to talk about the difference because they might ask you, do you want full coverage or do you want auto liability? And so we're going to break that down a little bit more today.
Yeah.
Well,
So I'm already, my mind's already going because, I've just rule of thumb. I've always heard, hey, if you get a brand new car, get full coverage. You have to get full coverage, or you're still making payments. However, if you bought something cash or you got something, if that's not making payments on to get liability just to save you money. But I have a feeling that may or may not be the best option. I really don't know. So I would like to learn because that's all I've heard growing up is like, hey, you got a car payment? Oh, you got to get the full coverage. You know what your car pay? Look, people will finish their car note and immediately go to liability just to save some money. Like, like the coverage. I don't need coverage anymore. Like I've seen people do that for years.
that is a very, it's very true. And it's also, um, it's interesting because, so like the way I would look at it is, you know what? Does that make sense? It does make sense. You want to save some money, remove the full coverage. Like, I get it. Some people feel that way, but then are you willing to take that? Now, you understand you're taking a risk by doing that. It's like it's kind of wild to think that we're so quick to pay more when we're protecting someone else's money
Mm,
instead of paying more to protect our money. So what I mean by that
okay.
is the reason why you need to have full coverage, which doesn't really exist by the way, but we'll break that down a little bit more what that means when I say that. But when you leave a dealer and you owe money to the bank, right? Because you got a loan for that car, you have car payments, you have a loan. If you have car payments, that's a loan that you have for that
Mhm.
car. So the loan company is like, hey, we need to make sure this car is covered because if you get into an accident, we need to figure out how you're going to pay off this car.
Yeah,
That's all they care about.
that's it.
We need to figure out how you're going to pay off this car. And so we need to make sure you have coverage for it so we get our money back that we borrowed you so you could buy this car. That's the bottom line. Like they want their, and now check this out. Because as soon as the car leaves the lot, there's depreciation.
Yeah,
The car is not worth as much as it was when it was on the lot, right?
facts.
So what you owe might be more than what the car is even worth,
Hmm.
right?
Sucks.
So there's these like so then they're like, oh, get gap coverage. Well, some carriers offer that. So make sure that the carrier maybe included it, because it might be cost efficient to just get it through the insurance carrier, so those are things that you want to look into to make sure that you're covered for the because like if that's what you're concerned with, fine. Just make sure that you're fully covered then, right?
So
Not
gap
just the
coverage, I'm sorry to interrupt. So
go
gap
ahead.
coverage is the gap between what you took a loan out for versus what the car is actually worth the moment you pull out. So you pull out, somebody rear ends you, and they're like, oh, the car's ruined. It's a $20,000 car. That's what you got loaned for. But as soon as you drove off the lot, it's worth 15,000. The gap coverage is that $5,000 gap That needs to be okay. Just for those who may, I thought that was what it was, but for those who are watching who like, I never understood gap coverage. There you go.
That's it. That's it. It's the gap. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's that
It's truly the gap
it's
coverage. Okay.
truly that like 5,000 that you said, that's where that comes into play. So you don't have to pay that out of pocket.
Got you.
Okay.
Got you.
So
Okay.
when you're getting the coverage for the vehicle, that's called comprehensive and collision. You gave a great example. You leave out the lot, someone crashed, someone rear ends you, someone crashed into you, right? That's collision coverage,
Mm.
right? Comprehensive, the vehicle's parked, a tree falls on it, a pole falls on it,
Yeah.
a hailstorm damages it, right? That's your comprehensive coverage,
Okay.
right?
So
So
collision is
collision,
when you're
comprehensive.
driving or someone drives into you or collides with you, but comprehension is if something outside of driving happens to your car and yeah, something happens to
Correct.
you is the collateral damage of the
Right.
hailstorm.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
tree. Man, I've seen trees in Chicago. I see trees falling on cars. That's
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it too. Yeah.
comp. That's comp coverage. So that's an
Okay.
example of like, so let's say you just paid off that car.
Hmm.
Call the insurance company right away. Take off that. Take off. I want liability only.
Yeah.
Right? Park the car. Crazy storm. Tree falls on top of the car. Look, that car might not be worth the $20,000, but let's say it's worth 12. That's a total loss. The insurance company would have given you $12,000 minus your deductible. Let's say you have $1,000 deductible, you would have got an $11,000 check for a total loss. And now you
Hmm.
have money to get another car.
Boom.
You feel
Okay.
me? So those extra couple bucks that you're paying is protecting you so that you can if your job depends on you having a vehicle to go to get to it, like
Yeah.
keep the full, keep the comprehensive and collision or the full coverage, whatever you want to call it, but keep that on there so that in case something happens, you at least get the money to purchase a new
Okay.
vehicle, put a down payment on a new vehicle, do what you got to do to keep doing your day to day what you got to do.
I think y'all just heard you sneak something in there real quick. So I heard you say full coverage is not really a thing, but I heard you just say comprehensive and collision. So wait, so full coverage for our listener is really because it gives you this illusion that it's like bumper to bumper, no matter what happens in the world, you're good because you got full coverage, not 90%. And so wait, so full coverage is not really full. Is it just
It's
comprehensive
just comp
and
collision. It's like you got
collision?
liability, comp collision.
So you
People
got all
call
three
that full
with
coverage.
that.
But you know what? There's also like uninsured motorist coverage.
Oh, that's like if you hit like somebody riding a bike or something, right? Or walking across the street, or they
Well,
hit
I
you.
would
How does
say,
that work?
well, no, I would say if you hit someone who doesn't have insurance,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Someone hits you that doesn't have insurance, and
That's complete.
they do damage to your vehicle.
That's in full. That's within full
That's
coverage.
with what that can be, but sometimes that's why full coverage is important to understand because some in the state of Illinois they made it a law now that you have to sign that you don't want uninsured motorist coverage. It's called
Uh,
uninsured motorist property damage coverage. That's the full name for it,
Shoot,
right?
screw that. I want that.
Well, that's my point. So some people don't even know that they don't have it because
Mm.
they might have signed off the paperwork thinking that they're signing for their policy. And some agents, they're just not adding it because they're like, ah, whatever. Like you don't need that. You got comp and collision. You don't need that. But it's like,
Yeah,
no. If I have uninsured motorists, you don't have to go into my comp and collision anymore. You could go into my uninsured motorist coverage because I got up to X amount of that coverage. And that protects me even more when in a claim scenario. So that way, if there's a claim, the insurance carrier is like, okay, great. They paid extra for this additional coverage. This person doesn't have insurance. Let's use this. So when they run their claims report, it doesn't look as bad.
Oh, okay.
because this
That's
wasn't their
something
fault.
new to know. Yeah, because that claims report will mess you up when you're trying to get
Hey,
some the
that's
next
exactly
car
it.
or
So a
the
lot of
next
people have a
thing.
bad claims report, right? A lot of people have a bad claims report simply because they didn't have the proper coverages.
Dude, I never forget years ago, I had a hoopty. It wasn't a hoopty when I got it, but I had it for a while. It finally became a hoopty.
Right,
And
right.
I was having problems with the fuel injection thingy. I didn't know what it was at the moment. I'm like, why does this thing, it got gas, it just ain't cranking. And um I would always, I had insurance. I'm like, hey, I need a tow. Just take it to the crib. I probably did that like 3 times, and then finally the car went to hell. So I was like, all right, just scrap this thing. And I got the next car, and I got insurance, and they were like, yeah, you had like 3 claims within the past month and a half. Like that looks bad. I'm like, claims? Nah, I just had a toad. It's like, that's a claim, sir. Like, yeah, I said, what? I did not know that. So they were like, yeah, so because you had about 3 claims in the past month and a half, looks kind of risky. So therefore, this coverage you want is going to be a little higher than it would be if you didn't have those 3 toes. I'm like, now I know. Didn't know that. So I was like, crap.
But
So I
see,
learned
that's the thing, man. People find this out that way usually because they
yeah,
want to switch, and when they try to switch, they're thinking they're getting a better price, and they're like, "Whoa, it goes up," but it's because of that claims history.
yeah.
So the point here is, as your agent, as your advisor, I would have after the first one, I would have told you, "Hey, Nate, look, what's up with the car?" Man, I don't know. I think I might have to do this a couple. I don't know. Honestly, I'm glad I have this because like this, I'm like, oh, okay, look. Let's say like this is for major emergencies. How about you get a AAA membership? A AAA membership gives you like 2 to 3
Mhm.
tows a year, and it's only like $100 like a year, right? So now you get a AAA membership, and that doesn't affect your insurance, right? Your auto insurance because that's
I
separate.
hear that. I heard that he just gave y'all a gem out there. He just gave y'all a gem, a money saving gem right there. Get that AAA. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You get the AAA membership, they come out, they'll tow you, they'll change your battery if you need a new battery. Like they have a lot of perks. If you get like the plus memberships, like another $50, and like you get even more perks. So that is a good supplement that you can carry with yourself in case you're
Mhm.
in a situation so you don't have to file that claim and you keep that insurance claim for major emergencies.
So I'm hearing you out, and so I understand the importance of having the maximum. They should just call it maximum coverage, like instead
Well,
of
yeah, well, I think
they
so
should call
because
it
there's more,
maximum
man. There's like
coverage.
you could have equipment coverage in your auto insurance. You
All
could have
these,
laptop cover, you can have coverage for laptops, coverage for business property. There's so many different things you can like different carriers have, different carriers add. So it's not just full coverage. It's let's discuss the different levels and the different like areas of liability, like your medical payments, right?
and
Some
let's
people say I
yeah.
have full coverage, but your medical payments is at the lowest limit in your auto insurance. Your medical payments covers your passengers in the car.
Mhm.
So if your passengers are injured in your vehicle in an accident, that's where your medical payments kick in. Some
Yeah.
people only have 1,000 in medical payments. What are you going to do with $1,000 in medical payments? Minimum you should have 5 to 10,000.
Yeah.
You know what I
Thousand
mean?
for the
Minimum, I think the highest you
ambulance.
can have is maybe like 15. What's that?
I said 1,000. That's the ambulance ride. Like that's gone already.
That's it. That's my
Like,
point. Yeah, that's my point. That's exactly it. So some people don't have that and they're saving, Nate, they're saving like $2 a month,
wow.
you know?
I think that's the illusion that not no, I'm not gonna say illusion. You do get what you pay for. However, I think people, if they understand the importance of knowing what they have and what they may need, and again, I understand affordability. You might get maximum coverage. It might be higher than your car. No, you're like, oh, wait, hold on. But I get it. Like, sometimes unfortunately, you know, you've been through some things and then you realize, oh, wait, nah, I need this other coverage. Or maybe if you do drive around and you have expensive speakers or expensive, you got a job that you do through your travel and you got $1,000 laptop here, camera equipment, and you drive with this every day, then you need to understand that there's other coverages out there that if somebody decide to break in your car and be like, an Apple laptop, you lost your files, but at least you can get your money back and buy another one versus just being SOL. And, so I think I think most people choose liability only when it just comes to affordability. But what
Of
is
course.
liability like for those who watching? Like I'm starting to understand what maximum, I'll keep saying maximum coverage, but comp, collision, and things. But what is that bare minimum people are getting? What is liability car insurance?
Yeah, so liability, so a lot of times the bare minimum, and I would say the majority of people, they're getting the minimum liability limit. So the state has a minimum limit requirement. This is why the state gets involved. It's funny, man. People wonder, man, the government gets involved because like we as a society don't like come together and are like, oh, you know what? Let's do this ourselves. Like let's make sure that we add this to like our repertoire so that we can be well protected and so that there aren't like just like monies that are owed randomly to people because they were injured and
Yeah,
no one is paying them back, right? So this
yeah.
is why the state requires people, motorists, to have minimum limits. And it's kind of changed. The minimum limits right now for liability is 25,000, 50,000, 20,000. So that's 25,000 per
Hmm.
person. That's 50,000 for the whole accident, and that's 20,000 for property damages. Okay, so that's the minimum
Okay.
liability limit that you need to have on a policy. A lot of times that's the minimum that people have.
Now, if I'm understand, I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Liability insurance covers not yourself. It's if damage to someone else's stuff. So if I accidentally hit someone, damage their car or something, my liability coverage will have money to pay for their damages. However, if someone hits me and I only have liability coverage, am I is my car covered? Am I covered medically? Like, how does that work on the liability end for car insurance?
So if someone hits you, their liability, their property damage
Hmm.
should cover your property,
Okay.
right? That's their
And
li
me, if
that's
they
why they
don't,
have go ahead, what?
and me, if I get hurt,
Yeah, that's the
they're
bodily injury part. That's the
okay. But I'm
25,000. So there's bodily injury, which is per person, then there's the whole accident, then there's a property damage,
okay.
right?
Got
And I'm pretty sure the minimums are 25, 50, 20. I think they used to
okay.
be 20, 40. They used to be 20, 40, 20, 40, 15, and I'm pretty sure they increased to 25, 50, 20, if I'm not mistaken.
Man, I get it. Like people be like, why is this there? But can you imagine if there was no insurance and imagine the amount of accidents that happen in Chicago? Everybody's be pointing the finger. They owe me. Oh my gosh, it would be such a cluster crap of problems, violence, financial issues. Like, so I get why the state was
That's
like,
why there's a
"Hey,
minimum.
have this. You
Yeah.
gotta have this.
You
Like,
gotta have this. You gotta have this when
get
you're out
that.
there. Something
Yeah,
happens. There's money. Money needs to come out of somewhere
somewhere.
to
Yeah,
take care of the situation. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And like it's because if it doesn't, guess what? It comes out of the state. It comes out of the tax. It comes out of our taxes in some
Ouch.
way, shape, or form.
Ouch.
You
And
know,
if you
so
city
we
is
pay
as
for it.
popular
Some,
as this, yeah, this will, yeah,
so that's but no, and I believe it's important to think about those minimum limits. Those are the minimum limits, right?
yeah.
Yo, let's say you hit a Bugatti. Nate, how much is a Bugatti?
Like 7 figures. What?
Let's say, fine, let's more like, out here, what do I see? I see Maseratis. I see a lot of Maseratis sometimes, like in the
Yeah,
city.
this is some
What's an affordable Maserati cost?
That's still like a high, no, that's a low six-figure car. Yeah, it's still a
Okay, cool.
six-figure car.
It's
Like
still
if
a
it's
six
brand
figure,
new, yeah, it's a six-figure car.
that's still a six-figure car, my friend. So if you crash into one of those, a bumper damage is easily 20, $30,000 property in repair cost.
I'm running. You might as well get out the car and just run because you're done. But
So if
if
you
you don't
have
got the right coverage, you're cool.
so check this out. So check this out. You're driving around with minimum liability limits. You hit a Maserati that needs $30,000 in repair costs. You have 20,000, you have a minimum $20,000 in property damage. You owe 10 grand for those repairs.
Yeah, you cooked for a whole 10 bands, yo. That's hilarious, yo. I'm just imagining some of the stuff I've seen. I never, because I've seen people not hit and run in the car, but they've hit and got out the car and just ran. Like
Right,
left the
right,
car, the stuff just
right.
ran.
That's
And
that no insurance.
I'm like, what? Why they do that? Now I see why. Because they like, I'm cooked.
I gotta
I
pay these
cooked.
damages. I've seen videos of people crash into buildings and run. Bro, that's property damage. That's your liability. That's you.
Oh my gosh.
And
Oh
it's
my
whoever
gosh.
you and it here's another like fun fact. If someone hits you and then you hit someone, that's your insurance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I've
So
seen
it's
that.
your car impact like hit someone else. It doesn't matter that it's because someone hit you. That's still on you. Just get good limits. Just get decent. I have 100, 300. I have
Yeah,
100, 300, 100.
that's reasonable. Yeah.
And you could get 250, 500, 250. You could do, I mean, there's carriers that could go up to 1 million, right?
Yeah.
Not many carriers, but depending on just like what your risk is, what like, just your profile, right? Where are you driving to? What areas are you around? Like, what are your primary, like, not even what are your primary concerns? Just kind of like thinking about like just your surrounding area. How often are you driving? What kind of vehicle do you drive? What's your net worth? These things matter to consider
Yeah.
even for your auto insurance because some people are like, I just need coverage. It also, you said something earlier that I wanted to touch on. When you buy that new car, ask for a quote beforehand.
Mm. Yeah.
Reach out. VIN numbers are available now. We could run a quote just to have an idea how much is this going to cost me to get this car
That's
if that's
smart.
something that you're budgeting for, right? Hey, I want to make sure I want to make sure I have great coverage. How much is it going to cost? Just like be prepared for that, and yeah, just be prepared
Another
for that
gem.
because it's a part of the law. Like that's just what it is.
That's another gem, y'all. Hey, if you know this is the car you want, if you're not so thirsty, like I have it right now, like find out the VIN, get some quotes ahead of time instead of being rushed at the dealership. Like, I'm just gonna call, or the auto guy has his homie's homie who may not even be a good insurance broker, but like, hey, talk to my guy, he gonna take care of you. And you just so thirsty that yeah, okay, you're fine. I'm overpriced for this coverage or something. 'Cause I've had something like that happen to me when I was like 19, 20. I bought my first car and the guy know a guy. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm telling you. When he quoted me my uh full coverage, I was like, homie, I said, this is more than my car note. Like, what are we talking? I was like, I'm 19, 20. I'm in college, bro. I don't got that kind of money. Like, you know what I mean? So let's slim this down. And so I had to go with I could afford to be legally compliant at the time. But as I got older and had my first accident, I had a drunk driver hit me. And that's when I started to realize, whoa, the importance. I had a better car, I had better coverages, and man, I'm so thankful I did. That's when I started to understand, oh, this can happen. Like I didn't hit nobody at the time, but I got slammed. And I'm like, oh, okay, this was good. And I understood because then when the cop found the guy who hit me, he hit and ran and he had him in the back seat. He was drunk out his mind. And he was
Mm.
like, good news and bad news. I said, what's the bad news? He says, the guy can't, he doesn't speak English, and if he could, he's probably so inebriated that he couldn't say anything anyway, which he was. He was handcuffed in the back, just kind of just dazed out. Like, well,
Wow.
what's the good news? He's like, he has insurance. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
So I'm all right. I'm gonna be okay. All this medical and all this. And it was for me, my brother, and his girlfriend, who were all in the car leaving the movie theater, and the drunk driver smashed the mess out of us. And my spine is still twisted to this day because of that. You know what I mean? And so
Bro.
just to tell people like the importance of having good coverage, because I mean, anything could happen on the road. Anything could happen. And even if you're financially decent, I'm gonna say well off, or you're self-insured, like Edwin said, like cool, oh, I got a million in the bank. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm self-insured. Anything happens, I pay for out of pocket. Let you hit that Bugatti or something happen like that.
Right.
You're a
That's
rip.
the part. Well, no, that's the part. No, that's the part, Nate, of like I've actually ran into people like that that are like they're well off and they're like they have minimum limits. Don't have minimum state limits and I'm like, yo, stop. Just pay so that you
Yeah,
don't have to pay. Like, just pay additional, increase your limits, so that way you don't have to tap into your money, and you could like
yeah,
just like that. But that way, that's something that you don't have to worry about at all because there's a way to protect yourself. And I mean, we'll talk about this on another episode, but it's like having an umbrella. What does that look like? How does that protect you? Because you can have a personal umbrella too that protects you under your auto. So there's all these things where that's why the terminology full coverage, it's just something that I think we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to do a picture of me saying full coverage because it's like there
yeah.
because there it's more than just it's more
Uh,
than just that. It's just the different levels of liability, the different levels of comprehensive, the medical payments. There's just these different layers.
yeah.
Key coverages. Certain carriers offer rate lock. Like I work with a carrier that locks your auto insurance rate.
Hmm.
So as soon as you and there's two different options, one without, one with, but as soon as you're locked in, right? The price doesn't change no matter what. So
That's
these are like different key things where it's like that's not part of full coverage, but it's just a feature that a carrier offers. Another
mhm.
feature is they'll give you the gap coverage. I have a carrier that will give you new auto replacement. So if you have a total loss, they'll pay you as if the car is 2 years newer. You know,
Oh, wow.
so they'll like, so you get that additional that can cover that gap if you still owe, or that additional that can like give you that new vehicle that you need to purchase for yourself to keep going in your day to day. So
Yeah.
it's like that's full coverage, right? Like when you really think about it, like so what are we really talking about? Different carriers have different things. It's more about like what features are you looking for, what fits your mold, and just make sure that you understand what are the different levels of coverages that are included
Yeah.
in the policy.
Well, there y'all have it. Look, we've got some gems today. Edwin has dropped some gems and some knowledge that I think everybody needs to pay attention to. Like, one was, hey, check the VIN number, get a quote ahead of time. Like, do that. Like, do that. Take your time when buying something that's several tens of thousands of dollars potentially. I mean, that's a golden gem. Second thing, get that AAA. Like if you're about to get a point A to point B car, you kind of know within a year you're gonna have some crap happen. Potholes, whatever, so it could be some internal things with the car that, are loose or whatever. Get the AAA instead of just filing claim for little things, minute things, and then when your car finally kicks the bucket and you got to go and get a newer vehicle or a better vehicle, your insurance is sky high because you look like you're a risky insuree, for that, whatever the term is. But you don't want to be that type of person. You're like, I never got in an accident, I've never hit anybody, but on paper you're a risk to the insurance company. So make sure that you take care of these type of things. These are gems that you definitely want to do to make sure that not only you got the right type of coverages, ask about the right type of coverages, reach out to Edwin, go to There's Insurance for that gmail.com and say, Edwin, hey, I'm considering buying a car, or maybe I have coverage, but I don't know what I really have on paper. Like, you want to take a review of what I have and maybe offer me something better if it makes sense. Like, reach out to Edwin. Make sure you're doing that. I know we're at the end of time, but those are some of my key takeaways with this conversation. So again, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and thank you for watching. And make sure you join us next week for another episode of There's insurance for that.